Hello and welcome to CarPal. Here's something for you. So, if you're looking for a vehicle with more than 5 seats in the affordable side of the budget segment, you may not have too many choices. And this would mean that your decision gets a little more critical. Also, what's important when it comes to any vehicle with more than 5 seats is the third row. It needs to have enough space and yet give you ample boot space. So, an MPV should be more than all of this put together. It has to be something more. So, if there's something called a perfect SUV, is there something called a perfect MPV? And that's what we're here to find out. So MPVs by design are supposed to be the no-nonsense type, the type that would simply and blindly make you believe in the vehicle's capabilities. Now when you have extensive design or dramatized design on an MPV, it sort of makes you believe that this vehicle is not really low on maintenance, or it's something that's not rugged enough for your kind of usage. And that's quite true because design plays a very influential role. And that's where the Lodgy plays its design cards pretty well. So if you look at the Lodgy, it's a very simple and straightforward design, which is very no nonsense or probably even no frills. It does get away with a little bit of sophistication though if you take the chrome bits up in the front grille or these 16-inch panache alloy wheels that you get with the stepway variants. And I think the best angle for the Lodgy is when you look at it from the side, and that's where the length of the vehicle gets enunciated much more, and it convinces you better about the space available inside. The interior is where the Lodgy gives you a very mixed feeling. There are some great bits and not so great bits, but the biggest advantage the Lodgy has right now is this sheer space on offer, and especially with these tall doors and large window frames, it actually feels a lot more spacious than it is. Second row is where you get the best experience because number one, you have captain seats in the stepway variant. So this is a 7-seater vehicle we are driving, and you have a lot of natural light coming in. And if you look at the seating ergonomics, you have pretty good headroom, you have pretty good thigh support, and you have a pretty decent knee room as well. So overall, it's actually a very comfortable place to be in. The third row is the highlight, giving you a lot of usable space, and you do sit with your knees slightly higher than usual, but trust me, it's a little more comfortable than you think it looks. Fun fact about the Lodgy is that it's the only vehicle where the third row can be completely removed if you want to give you a little more boot space. But not everything is great. There is one major downside. The touchscreen infotainment system. So this is a system that's used in the Renault Kwid, the Duster and the Captur as well. So the result is to make it as modular as possible, and therefore it ends up looking like this, a very aftermarket fitment that just slots into this gap here, which is not so cool. Another thing is the seats. Though they are actually pretty wide and pretty supportive, it's a little too stiff when it comes to longer drives. The way the Lodgy drives is actually quite unique, and I'll tell you why. In my view, what Renault has tried to achieve in this process is to give the Lodgy a very familiar driving sense. And this can be attributed to the fact that you have a much stiffer suspensions with the Lodgy, which is very unusual for an MPV. And this helps in three ways. It gives you the driving familiarity because it feels like a car, like a sedan or a hatchback to drive. And complemented by the fact that you're sitting higher off the ground and you have a more commanding view. Point number two, it gives you a very pliant ride on the highways, especially when you're doing triple-digit speeds, because you don't want your car to be shunting you up and down then. So here it reduces all that and gives you a very obedient ride on the highway. And point number 3, it reduces the amount of body roll inside the cabin to make sure that you and your passengers have a much more comfortable experience inside the car. All said and done, you have to compliment the frugality of this diesel engine here. So this is a 1.5 liter 110 PS diesel. You also get 85 PS diesel, but I'm sure you would like this much better. The cool thing about the engine is that even though it is not the best refined, even though it is not the most premium, it somehow gives you that feeling of confidence, of ruggedness, or the capability of the vehicle. And that's a special quality to have. And when you talk about the engines, you also have to talk about the gearbox, because this is a 6-speed manual I'm driving right now with the 1.5 110 PS diesel. The quality of shifts are great, and you need to experience it, because the flexibility of the gear ratios when you work through the gears is actually quite good. So you have this take it anywhere sort of a driving attitude that the Lodgy gives you. And I guess what also helps is that you have a very light clutch, and this way it helps you, especially while driving inside the city. What's also unique about the Lodgy is the power steering unit. It's a hydraulic power steering unit, and it's unique because it is very rare. Very few cars come with it, and the advantage is that it gives you that extra sense of steering feedback. It becomes a communication channel between you, the steering wheel, the wheels, and the tires, and it gives you a more immersive driving experience. So if you are a driving enthusiast, you would be able to connect to the Lodgy purely because of this hydraulic power steering unit. So, is the Renault Lodgy the perfect MPV? It sure has what it needs. It's got great space, it offers great driving experience, it's got a lot of other good things going for it. But why doesn't it sell well? Is it because of Renault's limited service network? Is it because of the debatable maintenance cost or spare parts cost? Or is it both that would sort of impact resale value? So now the question is the Lodgy the perfect MPV for you despite these flaws? Do let us know.